హాయ్ వ్యూవర్స్, వెల్కమ్ టు lipigame. ఈరోజు మనతో పాటు ఉన్నారు సురేష్ కట్ట, సిఇఓ అండ్ ఫౌండర్ ఆఫ్ సామా టెక్నాలజీస్. సామా టెక్నాలజీస్ ఒక పయోనీర్ అనమాట. సో ఎలా ఏంటి ఇంకా ఏఐ, డేటా అనలిటిక్స్, మెషిన్ లెర్నింగ్ అండ్ ఎంటర్ప్రెన్యూర్షిప్ వీటన్నిటి గురించి ఈరోజు కాన్వర్సేషన్లో. సో స్టే ట్యూన్డ్. సురేష్ కట్ట గారు నమస్తే అండి.
నమస్తే.
ఎలా ఉన్నారు?
బాగున్నానండి.
సో ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ సామా టెక్నాలజీస్ క్రియేటెడ్ వండర్స్. సో డేటా అనలిటిక్స్ స్పెషలీ 21, 22, 23 మన హ్యూమన్ రేస్ అంతా కూడా చాలా కష్టకాలంలో ఉన్న టైంలో సామా హ్యాడ్ రిజాల్వ్డ్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ద బిగ్గెస్ట్ ఇష్యూస్. సో దాని గురించి ఒకసారి.
మేము డేటా అనలిటిక్స్ బిజినెస్లో ఉన్నామండి. ఏమైందంటే 2015, 2016లో వీఆర్ ఆల్వేస్ ఇన్ ద కటింగ్ ఎడ్జ్ ఆఫ్ టెక్నాలజీ. సో అట్ దట్ పాయింట్ వీ ఫెల్ట్ it was important to basically embrace deep learning and machine learning algorithms. So this is naturally much before OpenAI, ChatGPT age. Then we said, okay, these algorithms look very impressive. Why not we teach these algorithms everything we know about cancer, everything we know about neurological disorders, everything we know about immunology or rare diseases. Let's see how well it learns about our illnesses and how well it can answer us questions about these illnesses. Especially when you are running a clinical trials with a new drug, it takes a lot of time. From phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, you need to get efficacy right, you need to get a safety right, and you need to get enough size sampling of the people in the world of 8 billion people for drug to be reasonably accepted in the market.
Correct.
So when you are doing that, it generally takes 10 years
My
to
God.
do this process. So our goal was, can we cut it down by 50%? Because we felt there was enough opportunity to actually make algorithms learn about all this clinical data, so that every patient who is on the new drug treatment, and we could learn about whether it's working from safety point of view and efficacy point of view or not. So that's kind of how we evolved very early on. When we started talking about it in pharma industry, they asked me from point blank, what do you know about biotech and clinical trials? My answer was, hey, I do not know anything about it. That's the only reason I have confidence I'll be able to solve this problem. And you all know this problem for 30, 40 years. You have not been able to cut it down, what it takes to bring the right kind of drugs to the market in an efficient way. That's how we started the journey. And within about a year and a half, we had about over 1,500 1,500 clinical trials running on our platform.
Okay, wonderful.
So that gave us basically validation in the market. And we had every type of drug treatment already on our platform. When COVID happened, then we were kind of really ready with it.
Yeah. So basically, I need to mention when Pfizer vaccine వచ్చినప్పుడు Saama Technologies AI was the main tool and technique they used to get the results faster. And that is why Pfizer vaccine is the first vaccine for COVID.
Yes, yes, we had that pleasure of, I would say, being in the right place at right time. Pfizer already had tried our platform over at least about 100 different clinical trials, but most of them were not of that important for them. Right. The big products big drugs they had not tried. When COVID happened, they said they had heard enough good things about us. And as you know, that economic and health crisis around the world, right, because we are live in such a interconnected world. There was no country or there was no sector of people who were spared from COVID. And everyone was struggling. Oh. And there was a huge amount of responsibility for pharma companies to figure out how do we bring this to stop. So that's where we were. So we were asked, can you try? And we had never done anything on vaccine until that time.
Okay, so it's even kind of a challenge for you also.
Yes, our algorithms never had learned anything about vaccines before that. So we really went into that supercharged, turbocharged mode and tried to teach what all we could. And of course, COVID was so new, nobody knew enough about COVID.
Right, there's no
And
enough information also.
yeah, but we did that teaching, and the beauty was we were able to process our algorithms were able to process over 1 billion clinical data points per day for
Billion.
60,000 patients. They were coming from every type of country you can think of in the world. So we were in the center of that one, trying to figure out how do we get algorithms make the calls better than humans or any technology tools can do.
So, Suresh Garu, one question. It was peer pressure for pharma companies and all. So, as you being the center, so how did Sama managed that pressure and also came up with good results? Because it's all about time. We don't have time at that point of time, right?
Yeah.
So, ఎలా manage చేశారు and చాలా and I think within 3 months it came out, right?
Yeah, we started out in early spring, that's I should say April, May time frame, and by November of the 2020, uh, we had both world's first vaccine as well as the therapy. Therapy means if you already have vaccine is to prevent the COVID coming to you, whereas therapy was if you already been attacked by COVID, then how do you protect yourself? So both of them came out before 2020 December, and we take the pleasure of introducing world's first COVID therapies to the market.
Well, congratulations and kudos on that. So,
Thank you.
Coming to this, I have one more question I'm very curious to ask. So, మీరు as an Indian, ఇక్కడ వర్క్ చేసి ఉంటారు. ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ సామా ఆఫ్ కోర్స్ ఇక్కడ కూడా ఉంది అండ్ అలాగే అబ్రాడ్లో కూడా ఉంది. సో ఏఐ మెషిన్ లెర్నింగ్ అనేది డేటా అనలిటిక్స్ అనేది అక్కడ ఫాస్ట్గా గ్రో అయింది. సో వాట్ డూ యూ థింక్ ఇస్ ద రీజన్?
See, Silicon Valley has been an innovation hub for last 5 decades. Microprocessors came out. Before that, integrated chip came out. I started my career actually on the integrated chip. That was in the early 80s and mid 80s. Our idea was how do we put more transistors into a chip so that you can insert more logic into the chip. And at that time, I'll tell you, both the boys make fun of me. That is, I got my thesis done for my graduate program for putting 100,000 transistors. That was a very innovative thing to figure out how to put 100,000 transistors. And today, you guess how many transistors are there on the chip from mid 80s to
2024,
25.
I think it's almost 1 million.
Yeah.
Am I near or am I close or am I?
You're way off. And today we have NVIDIA chips and some of the Apple chips has 110 billion transistors in a same chip, same size chip.
Oh my God.
That's how much logic we are able to put into a chip.
And that's small chip.
Yes. So that's why my both boys make fun of me. 100,000 and you got your thesis awarded and graduate program done. Of course, at that time, we were very early stages. Just trying to put more than 10,000 transistors into a chip was a breakthrough at that point.
Okay.
Today, several 100 million is a rounding error in the chip.
Wonderful. Ante
That's a progress we have made. Anyway, why I was trying to give you is the Silicon Valley has been that way, and I take a lot of pride being a part of that community because there are just so many youngsters coming there non-stop with the innovative thinking, and artificial intelligence has been there for at least 80 years if I'm not wrong. It started out in 1930s or 40s actually. The very first artificial intelligence book was written about that in 1940s.
what are you saying? We are
Yeah.
just
Okay, so but it was not practical to implement that artificial intelligence. So we had several false starts decade after decade after decade. We did not have computing power, we did not have data power, we did not have software power. Now, when we have all these three came together, suddenly artificial intelligence became reality. And
Right.
it took us still about, I would say, 10 years to get to where
We are.
ChatGPT or OpenAI coming out.
Yeah.
Behind the scene, there are machine learning algorithms, deep learning algorithms, kind of things which we depended on, which is a raw version of what you see today with large language models, all that stuff. Why am I giving you this? Is as a data analytics person, and we wanted to stay in the ahead of the curve. And we said, how do we apply this? And one of our thinking was humans suffer so much with so many illnesses in the body. And as we know, there are over 5,000 known illnesses in the human body. And we have medication for less than 10% of them right now. So there is so much need to be done. So we felt we should pivot our business into figuring out how do we use artificial intelligence in bringing drugs much more faster to the market and much more cheaper to the market.
Right. So, as an entrepreneur, what do you think is the right thing? Because India lo youth lo 50 to 70%, they don't want to do jobs. Mostly they want to become entrepreneurs. And many successful startups also manam chustune untam stories. Thinking ahead of time or being in practical thinking or funds or resources, which one is most important?
I think most important is having that passion, energy, and the fire in their belly.
Okay.
And without having that something inside your stomach which drives you every minute of the day to make transformative change. And everything else, whether money or idea or cutting edge, all that will come later. But if you do not have that fire inside your stomach, because entrepreneurship is very hard,
Yeah.
and starting a company is hard, building a company is harder, and surviving the company is even hardest.
True.
Okay, so there are so many startups, but there are only that many are successful,
Right.
and there are only that many who have been able to actually become very meaningful or transformative for the industry and the world, right?
Yeah.
So each one of them is much harder than the other. Having said that, I'll just say that one need to be ready for it, and it's at least a decade minimum before you see some fruits of it.
Okay, so a decade, and now we are talking about Gen Z, Gen Alpha. What they have is in minutes, their attention span is completely, now we see, not even large videos. All they need is in shots. So, పేషెన్స్ లెవెల్ రాను రాను తగ్గిపోతుంది. మన దగ్గరకు అన్ని ఒక్క నిమిషం 10 నిమిషాల్లో అన్నీ వచ్చేస్తున్నాయి. ఇలాంటి టైంలో పేషెన్స్ అనేది హౌ రియల్లీ ద యూత్ కెన్ కోప్ అప్ విత్?
Yeah, you're right. Today, technology has evolved so much. Everyone's been able to actually get the information so fast, and they feel they can get anything done. But look at TikTok, look at Instagram, look at Facebook. How long they took before they became Facebook or Instagram or TikTok?
Yeah, Facebook, I know, completely 1 decade to get
Right.
success.
Every one of them, Google, same way. Maybe Google was a little bit faster, I would say. But point is, I'm trying to make is decade means what I'm saying to be relevant in the industry. There are a lot of startups you never heard of them,
Right.
but you to become a relevant, it's a journey of at least minimum a decade. That's what I feel, and some of them are able to do much faster. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but some of them take even longer than decade. Okay.
Right.
So it is that kind of a sacrifice, if I could call it, they need to make of their lifestyle in order to pursue their dream. And without that, just things don't happen overnight.
So true. So true. So, may I ask, what is the one thing in this journey of your entrepreneurship that you sacrificed, but you're happy that you sacrificed?
I think bigger picture I'll say is as we get good at something, we get deeper and deeper and deeper. Then I sacrifice knowing rest of the world. Okay, because I was going deeper and deeper and deeper, and with that, I was getting good at going deeper and deeper. But however, uh, you just try to ignore rest of them. I do not reply into that one. I do not lose sleep on that one. The reason is I've been able to succeed with what I was focused on, and that's all matters. I don't need to be in everywhere for everything. And
Right.
whether you're doing a PhD or you're an entrepreneur, you just have to be the best, world's number one. That's all you need to be.
Yeah.
Rest of it, you don't need to be two or three even. What you are passionately working on, look at Facebook. They are world's first, number one. Google, they are world's. Instagram, you can go on giving. TikTok, they are number one. As long as you can become world number one, that's all, you accomplished your mission.
Right. So it's all about passion and
Yeah.
you being to your passion genuinely honest.
Correct.
Wow, wonderful. So, Suresh garu, one more question. చాలా మంది ఎంటర్ప్రెన్యూర్స్ స్టార్ట్ చేసేటప్పుడు దిల్ హ్యావ్ పర్టికులర్ ఫండ్స్, కానీ మీరు చెప్పినట్టు రియాలిటీలో ఒక సక్సెస్ చూడాలి అంటే ఇట్ మే టేక్ 2 years, ఇట్ మే టేక్ 4 years, ఆర్ ఇట్ మే టేక్ అ డికేడ్. సో టు సస్టైన్ ద ఫండ్స్ and resources, they need a plan and strategy, isn't it?
Yes, I think that's a very good question. Thanks for asking. Yes, it evolves, but people who are funding you, or you're self-funded, or you're customer-funded, it doesn't matter how institutional investors funded, they all going to pay attention to what you have been doing, how you are doing it. And I never worry about the money, cash, additional things need to be. If I am on the right path passionately, they look at it. Even if I don't become relevant timely in their time scale, but they know that I'm on to something. And they will keep on funding me, saying that, okay, we hear you change your plan a little bit now, but they're always supportive of it. That's the way institutional investors as well as customers and any other method you use to fund yourself, they all been helpful that way. I do not worry too much about that. Great ideas, great dedicated, passionate work always commands every type of resource in the world. It will come to them.
Yeah. So, కమింగ్ అపార్ట్ ఫ్రమ్ ఎంటర్ప్రెన్యూర్షిప్ జాబ్స్, ఇప్పుడు ఎవరైతే సాఫ్ట్వేర్ జాబ్స్ చేస్తున్నారో, ఐటీ ఆల్రెడీ చాలాసార్లు రెసిషన్ ఉన్న, ఈ మధ్య ఎక్కువ సార్లు రెసిషన్ అనే పేరు వింటున్నాము. అండ్ అలాగే ఏఐ ఇప్పుడు ఎంత ఫాస్ట్గా ఉందంటే ఏఐతో చాలా జాబ్స్ పోతాయి, చాలా మంది అన్ఎంప్లాయిడ్ అయిపోతారు అనే ఒక వర్షన్ చాలా మందిలో భయం తెప్పించింది. సో as you being in the industry for so many years, what do you think, what is the coming 5 years AI is going to do, and what is going to happen to the business and jobs?
See, I'll give you a few stats that will be helpful. One is, I'll just say that today, 8 billion people around the world.
Yeah.
And if you see, majority of them already have a device in their hand.
Yes.
Okay. And technology, or it used to discriminate people based on three things.
Okay.
And technology used to say, hey, if you are not educated, I'm not going to be your friend.
Yes.
And technology said, if you do not have money, I'm not going to be your friend. And technology said also, third one is money, education, and English language. If you do not know English language, technology said, I can't be your friend. Over last decade, we have been able to turn around. We inversed it. That is, technology does not care whether you know the English or not, whether you are educated or not, whether you have money or not.
Yeah.
All three, still it can give you the same information. A millionaire or a billionaire or a richest man in the world can access information. Same information can be accessed for the people who do not have those three. So why am I giving you this? This is the progress we have made over last 50 years,
Right.
and we have uplifted the entire world.
True.
Okay, and today there is nobody on the planet who do not know something about technology.
Correct.
Something, and not only they know, they are depending on that technology for their economic survival.
Yeah.
And technology has been a key role it has played in uplifting the humanity again and again and again. Okay, so AI is going to be another big booster. So it will uplift a lot more people in the world than it has. We have naturally pushed them from extreme poverty to lower middle class. Now with AI we are going to push them from lower middle class to middle class or upper middle class. That's what AI is going to do. And I truly believe just an incredible opportunity for the entire world to leverage the AI to uplift the humanity. That's what is going to happen over next decade. I'm very confident about that. There will be a lot more jobs created. I still remember when accounting software was coming out, everyone said accountants will lose jobs. Today, QuickBooks alone has something like 7 million QuickBook users.
Right.
So every accountant needs a QuickBooks to actually run their accounting system.
Right.
So AI will be need to be there on everyone's uh, pocket, believe me.
It's
So
only a leverage which can make us more empowered.
correct.
Is
Yeah.
it?
So I'm a big believer that technology is the one which is going to bring us together. Technology is the one which is going to help us be more creative. Technology is the one which is going to make us more richer or have a, that minimal economic standards what everyone is looking in life. Okay.
Yeah. And also the knowledge they wanted. It's just
Correct. Yeah.
one
Yeah.
click away.
Yeah.
సో సురేష్ గారు ఇప్పటి వరకు మనం ఏదైతే మాట్లాడుకున్నామో దానికి మనం ఎపిక్స్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ని అందరికీ అందుబాటులోకి తీసుకురావడానికి వీ హ్యావ్ స్టార్టెడ్ లిపి డాట్ గేమ్. యాజ్ యూ నో యూ బీన్ ఎంకరేజింగ్ అండ్ బీయింగ్ అ బిగ్గెస్ట్ సపోర్టర్ ఆఫ్ లిపి డాట్ గేమ్. సో మీరు అన్నట్టుగా టెక్నాలజీ, if technology is not available, lippi.game might have not been possible. సో ఎప్పుడు చూసినా మన మహాభారతం కానివ్వండి, రామాయణం కానివ్వండి, ఈవెన్ స్టిల్ దే ఆర్ ఇన్ బుక్స్.
Yeah.
అండ్ అక్కడక్కడ మనకి గూగుల్లో ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ వస్తూ ఉంటుంది, అండ్ వర్డ్ గేమ్స్ అయినా కూడా. సో వాటన్నిటినీ మన భాషలో ఒక యాప్ ద్వారా టెక్నాలజీ మేడ్ ఇట్ పాసిబుల్ టు మేక్ ఇట్ వన్ స్టోరీ వన్ క్లిక్ అవే. సో మీరు మహాభారతం నేర్చుకోవాలన్నా ఒక క్లిక్లో లిపి యాప్లోకి వెళ్ళిపోతే ఆల్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ ఇస్ దేర్, దట్ టు ఇన్ అన్ ఎంటర్టైనింగ్ వే. సో టెక్నాలజీ మీరు అన్నట్టుగా మనకి సపోర్ట్ చేసింది. సో మీరేమంటారు, అంటే ఈజ్ ఇట్ రిలవెంట్ టు ద టైమ్స్, స్పెషల్లీ టు ఇండియా అండ్ అబౌట్ అబ్రాడ్ ఆల్సో? చాలా మందికి మనకి ఇప్పటి వరకు కూడా వెస్ట్రన్ గ్లాడియేటర్స్ దగ్గర నుండి, పర్షియన్ కింగ్స్ దగ్గర నుండి వీళ్ళందరి గురించి తెలుసు. బట్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ రైట్ టైమ్ టు లెట్ ద వరల్డ్ నో అబౌట్ ఆర్ సూపర్ హీరోస్ of Mahabharat, Ramayana and all?
Yeah, of course. Let me give you this context. As you know that if you look at our ancestors, they had incredible things they produced. We all know that. Okay. And however, over last 5 centuries or 6 centuries, Western countries had taken a lead. The approaches they took, they were known for industrial revolution. They were known for internet revolution. They continue to be known for AI and a lot of other things. Okay, so by doing that, you see that entire world has elevated to next level.
Oh.
Okay, so with taking the India and mana Telugu bhashani తీసుకుంటే, I want to bring that context here. So India is going through very transformative decades. And in my opinion, with all the changes when I left India to what I see now, from the point of how it has transformed, I'll say India is going through a renaissance of its own. And when you look back 100, 200 years back from now, our great grandchildren, they're going to look at and say, India was a renaissance of India happened in 21st century, early 21st century. Whether it's a statue of equity or statue of liberty, there are a bunch of things which basically elevated our ability to um, kind of exhibit who we were or who we could be. Okay.
Right.
So I see that renaissance happening. This is the best time for Lipi kind of ones to play a further role in giving them the tools they need in their hands, whether to learn about our epics or our language skills, or while doing both of them, how do we collaborate with family members? How do we collaborate with our friends? How do we actually make it a gaming such a way that I'm learning language, I'm learning epic? That's the beauty I really love about Lipi games, because Lipi games brings that one. Because anytime you set up a gaming kind of application, suddenly learning goes up very fast.
Right.
Because you are always competing or presenting or showing someone how well you are doing or how well you want to do based on someone else, whether it's your little sister or little brother, you want to compete with him and say that, hey, I finished this many words, how about you? Or I know this many characters in Mahabharata now.
Yeah,
And how,
gamification always makes us motivated to play or do things.
yeah. So what I wanted to say is, um, when the world got what they got now, with maybe less than, I would say, 500 million people in the Western world, made the changes through industrial revolution to now. And think about that technology platforms now, 7.5 billion people, 7.5. If you take Westerners out, there is 7.5 billion people did not participate in that.
Yeah.
They're consumers of it rather than creators of it. So I see over next few decades, 7.5 billion people are going to become creators of this. Okay, when you can think about it, 500 million people produced this kind of change, transformative change to the humanity. When 7.5 billion people equally smart, I also believe the smart people, dumb people, or any type of people, they're equally sprinkled across the globe.
Ah,
It's not divided by our ethnicity, by our religion, our caste, our community, nothing of that sort. There are smart people everywhere. There are dumb people everywhere. There are bad people everywhere. There are good people everywhere. There are people who are doing incredible stuff everywhere. Also, there are people who are not doing anything.
God,
So you will find that mix, uniformity,
yeah.
uniformity of that mix
God
around
didn't
the world.
discriminate the world, it seems like.
Yeah.
He kept equally all the smart people and not smart people, good people, bad people equally, it looks like.
So I'm very excited about Lipi.game, giving this opportunity to entire Telugu community to begin with, and who are NRIs as well as India, both of them to get their language skills back into how to do the actual words in it, or speak for in it, or just so many different ways you can learn your language.
Yeah.
And along with that, you also giving them opportunity with epics to learn about the characters. And I'm always amazed that there are 9,000 plus characters in Mahabharata, and nobody could at least it's not, most of the us do not know about it.
True.
And they wrote it such a way that it is a representative of 8 billion people on the planet.
How no?
So if one character or other character represents millions of people out of 8 billion people. So I feel Lipi.game is very relevant for people to connect with. Doesn't matter whether they're in Africa or they're in South America or they're in Asia, or doesn't matter where they are. You are going to find a similar type of person there.
Definitely. So before wrapping up, I have two questions, Suresh Garu. One is, why చాలా మంది మనం లిపి.గేమ్ యాప్ చూపించినప్పుడు కానివ్వండి, మహాభారతం గురించి చెప్పినప్పుడు కానివ్వండి, ద ఫస్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ జనరల్ యాస్, వై షుడ్ ఐ లెర్న్ మహాభారతం? most of the people have that kind of a question also. So I put to you in this way: why is one's culture is more important for the person to recognize and realize and learn about it?
So I will say that it's not a one is, at least I'm not a big believer of one culture is superior to every other culture.
Yeah.
Every culture has its own greatness. Every religion has its own greatness. So it's all about our ancients, our ancestors, how they set up things. And I feel excited to be learning about my own ancestors, what they did, how they thought about the world, and how they lived their lives, and how they dealt with every challenge of the life without this modern medicine, without modern technology, modern equipment, modern way of how we live today.
True. So yes, definitely. That's called history also, knowing
Right.
our history. So and one more question is, let's switch ourselves to word games. In Western countries, word games are already very great games, and everybody plays
Yeah.
for their brain exercise, let's say brain food, anything. But in India, it's new. ఎస్ అఫ్ కోర్స్ అమ్మమ్మలు నాన్న అమ్మ అందరూ ఆదివారం పుస్తకంలో వచ్చే సుడోకు చేస్తారు,
Yeah.
పదాలను కూడా చేస్తారు. కానీ బ్రింగింగ్ దాట్ విత్ ఇన్ అవర్ ఓన్ నేటివ్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా
Yeah.
అండ్ క్రియేటింగ్ ఎన్ యాప్. సో డూ యూ థింక్ ఇట్స్ అ న్యూ థింగ్ ఫర్ ఇండియన్స్ టు have fun, or why is it is important to have that kind of brain exercise every day for 10 minutes?
Yeah. I think it's, I think you already know, there are so many languages in the world. And so many of those languages do not even have scripts.
Yeah.
And many of the languages are dying because of one common language what we have learned to interact with English. With that, and we had not seen the need for it. But what I see is there is a really need for doing, whether it's research or business or anything else, also could be done in the local languages. Okay, so as long as there is a way to translate that across the globe, so it is not necessarily mutually exclusive. I could be expert in English as well as in Telugu. And that way I keep up with my ancestors, what they gave me, and also I adapt something which I can communicate with rest of the world in that language. Okay, so both of them, and I get a best of the both the worlds. And why shouldn't I do it? And why shouldn't any other Indian should not do it? And why shouldn't any other Telugu person not do that? Okay, I see there's a great opportunity to do all that.
Yeah, I think the question should be, చాలా మంది why should I అనుకుంటారు, why shouldn't I?
Yeah.
అక్కడికి వస్తే problem solved.
Solved, correct.
So true, so true. So lastly, one message to the Indians who wants to become entrepreneurs అవ్వాలనుకున్నా, లేదా స్టార్టప్లో ఉండి ఇంకా సక్సెస్ చూడాలి అనుకున్న వాళ్ళకి ఒక వన్ మెసేజ్ ఏంటంటే?
Yeah, what I will say is, Aparna garu, world is very young at this point. There's so much to be done. Anything, everything we have done will be redoing in the decades to come, in a century to come.
Okay.
So there is a need for entrepreneurship all over. We have 1.4 billion people. It's not just 200 million people need to be doing well in the middle class. We want a billion people to be in the middle class. And for that to happen, we need entrepreneurs.
Okay.
We need entrepreneurs with passion and energy to do transformative stuff which could uplift the humanity. Okay, that's what I believe needed. So entrepreneurship is also highly rewarding. Okay, I'm a big example of it has been a very rewarding for me. Okay, when I left India with one suitcase with no money,
Okay.
and today I've been put in a category of wealthiest people in the world. So that it wouldn't have happened without entrepreneurship. I worked very hard, 7/24 for year after year, but that gave me an opportunity. So I feel as long as you create the value, there is an opportunity to uplift not just yourself, but every person associated with you, whether as an employee or as a overall stakeholders, investor, or you are their partner to you. You are going to be uplifting every one of them. So
Yes.
it's a great journey. I encourage everyone to take that road and try it out. And if it is not your cup of tea, you will figure that out. But try it. Without trying, you will never know you are capable of doing it. So 50% of the whatever great సామెత ఉంది, 50% వచ్చి deciding to try. If you don't try, there is no chance of success.
అవును.
So I encourage every Indian, everyone, whether you are educated or not, whether you know English or not, whether you have money or not, you don't need any of those three. You just need a drive inside of
Passion.
you. Everything else will come to you.
Wow. This conversation is more cheering and more encouraging and totally positive. I really want to give a big thank you for coming and giving us this opportunity, Suresh Garu. And before leaving, one message and about lipi.games. ఇంకా మనం ఇప్పుడిప్పుడే జనాల్లోకి వెళ్తున్నాము.
Yeah.
సో
Everyone, I encourage you to spend at least 10 to 15 minutes every day of your life playing Lipi game. You will get the joy of learning, and also you will get a joy of collaborating with the people whom you love. Okay, so all the best. I strongly encourage you to use Lipi game every day.
thank you so much. Thank you so
Welcome.
much, Suresh Garu, for your time.
Yeah.
One message in Telugu also.
Ah.
Fewer English words.
ప్రతిరోజు లిపి గేమ్ ఆడండి. రోజు ఆడితే మీ నాలెడ్జే కాదు, మీతోటి మీ లవ్డ్ వన్స్ అందరికీ నాలెడ్జ్ ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది. అండ్ దాంతో యు ఆల్ విల్ opportunity to collaborate more with each other, whether it's your sibling or it's your spouse or it's your parent or it's your friend or it's someone unknown person who is going to become a friend to you. నేను హృదయపూర్వకంగా encouraging you to figure out how to use lipi.game every day.
Thank you so much.
Welcome.